So in this episode, let's talk about, as the title says, let's talk about the Don Callis family. Something that went from kind of looking a little disappointing, maybe in the very beginning because I didn't understand it, to I think it's amazing, and they're hitting it out of the park on this one. Been down kind of on AEW, but I gotta give the props on this one. So let's check this out. Yeah, welcome to Bad Guy Wrestling. So today, as the title implies, we're going to be talking about the Don Callis family. We're going to be talking about how the members of Takeshita, how Sammy Guevara, Will Ospreay, and the newest one, Powerhouse Hobbs, fit into the equation. But first, so we have Don Callis here. Don Callis has been relatively new to me, maybe not to you, but it wasn't until the Elite were, they were heels. Was it last year, something like that, or and they brought him in, and he was their manager for their heel run, especially Kenny Omega in there, his hype man, all that kind of stuff before they turned face, and then the kind of the switch happened. So. When he first came in, I knew nothing about him. I thought he kind of had that sleazeball manager look, which he does, which is great, but was not giving him the props in my mind when he first came on. Now I think he's incredible. He is the head heel. He is the head heel manager. He's the head manager in AEW and the best by far. And he's not Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is not him, but like if you're looking for equivalents, like he is definitely looks like he is on that kind of that tier of he is a character himself and not an enhancement for the other one. He don't get me wrong, he himself, the Don Callis family, is called the Don Callis family for a reason, and it's because of his ability to suck you in, make you hate him, and things like that. And so initial thoughts on the family now is that he is here to help these guys get over this last I don't know, hump is the right word, or just roadblock for younger guys here, younger wrestlers that really just need to learn how to polish it off to their characters and things like that for the big like to be like that main event scene. So they all are doing great things, but it seems like the Don Callis family is just here to really enhance them and take them to that final level, so that they can blossom. I mean, go back to the Chris Jericho telling Sammy he's not ready yet, or he needs to get there. And here's the reality: they're doing that, but they're doing it with Don Callis. I mean, he's been with Chris Jericho and stuff forever, so so it makes sense. It's still really this developmental thing, and I love it. I mean, he can talk, he can do commentary, he can help with the promos, he can help with vignettes in the back, things like that. He is as big as other wrestlers without wrestling. Maybe not every single one, but he is definitely a personality he's a character on this show, and then that will stay. But what are some of the other characters? First, I want to talk about Takeshita. He is a physical talent. He is incredible in that sense. Very big, especially for like his size wise. He is big. He is a big dude. He's honestly not what I expect when I think of like Japanese wrestlers, even though there's a lot of big ones. But you think the super heavyweights or junior heavyweights and stuff like that. But in this case, I mean, this dude, he's the alpha right now, and just physically he is very gifted and strong, and he has a great presence. And so what does he need? I mean, he does not, at least I don't think he does, because he doesn't talk on the mic. He's having, how does he relate to us as the viewers with the language barrier. And I think for now, getting to know him and things like that, the Don Callis effect is why he's there. Don Callis can speak and help really develop his personality, teach him how to relate and tell the story to the audience, even when you have a language barrier. Which is helping now. I mean, they had in the beginning when he was courting them, the promos, like the people meeting them at the airport and stuff like that, the drums and everything. And now he's really learning to do like his body language and everything to really showcase off like his personality and his heeldom. Kind of like you know how Asuka in the beginning definitely was having language barrier, but it was like her personality still rang through and stuff like that. And I think Don Callis is really helping to develop that. I think without Don Callis, you saw in the beginning, Takeshita came out, he had some good matches. Like everyone was probably thinking, oh, this guy's good, but why do I care? And this has made it so this is the reason I care. I care about Takeshita now. I care. I think he's legitimate. I think maybe not today a world title, but I think tomorrow, definitely. I mean, I think he could easily become international champion right now. Oh yeah, he could beat a Ray Phoenix. I mean, he might have been able to beat Jon Moxley. I mean, he's the alpha now, right? Beat Kenny Omega twice. We don't have to get into the logistics of the first one or anything, but he's a rising star, and I think pairing with Don Callis here is what's going to be what puts him over the top. He'll probably eventually do, a face turn, things like that. Of course, that's normal wrestling, but this is really cementing him, putting the roots down and to keep him here, and not just have him come and be a flash in the pan in AEW and then go back to Japan or go to a different promotion or something like that. Very smart. So let's go to our next one. Sammy Guevara. Okay, so another one. Sammy Guevara is established. So why does he need this? Well, he needs it because, I mean, they've been teasing it. He's in Jericho's shadow. He's not held a world championship. He's had some matches for it. Okay, I want to give him that. He is a great athlete. He might be one of the best athletes in wrestling right now. He has a good look, but sometimes it feels like with the promos and like just kind of the personality, like he's still kind of finding it. I don't know. I don't want to speculate because and again, I don't want to take anything away. I think he's fantastic. I love watching him, but I think what it is they matched him in here because he's another young talent, and Don Callis can really help develop that last part to put him into the title picture or put him in as that one of those main event players here. Which didn't seem like he was going to ever really fully develop with Jericho there. I mean, they've been teasing this for a long time. And then the heel turn here, I kind of was sold that they were going to be tag team partners. They were going to go establish themselves as tag champs eventually, but this was better. So again, props to AEW on this. I think it had me. I thought, I mean, you could see kind of coming, but I really thought they were going to go and just squash this because they seem to like to do that in AEW and then become tag team champions. I think what Don is really going to help Sammy with is to be very decisive and to really be premeditated on like how you talk, how you establish the storyline you're trying to tell. That the athleticism and stuff is great, but it's really the memorable moments and like how your body language and how you tell the story conveys off these iconic moments, that we're going to stop thinking he's trying to play a character and think this is him and forget it. I mean, the whole point of this is to forget that it's wrestling, or in the fact that it's scripted or pre that type of thing. Predetermined, I think, is the term they like. So he just really needs that last push. It's going to legitimize him and things like that. So I think that's why he's here. I mean, he's got the cockiness and stuff, and I really hope they double down on that type of thing. So another great thing. And he's the established name. He's the biggest name of the four by far. Not that Will Ospreay, who's our next person, not that he isn't great, not that he isn't, but I'm talking about mainstream audience, the mainstream AEW, WWE viewer, not the guy who watches New Japan, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying for that like kind of mainstream audience. Sammy is the guy you've been watching him. You kind of know Takeshita now. You've seen Will Ospreay a few times, but you don't know like how he's been just like, dominating on the, the other scenes. And so I think he's going to establish the credibility of this group. Is he the leader? He could be. It's kind of looking like Will. Maybe my guess is will be but Sammy has always been this kind of like rogue guy even within a group. So that could be a really cool angle. So let's talk about Will Ospreay here. So he's been in a few matches here lately. He comes in, does appearances, but he's not really a full-time guy. But it looks like he might be now. I'm sure. I mean, this guy wrestles all over. He's young. He's probably, doing stuff now that he's not going to be able to do in 20 years, just because schedule-wise, just because of he's younger and everything. But I think this is a great marriage between a guy who's got great legitimate street cred, if I want to put it, but hasn't been introduced as well to the mainstream yet, and it's gonna be interesting. I think he's gonna be kind of touted as one of their like kind of their main guys as far as in the stable. Like I could see him being like a title, like their main guy, where Takeshita and Sammy Guevara are like their tag team people, and Hobbs is like a TNT champion or something, if they all had titles at the same time. Ospreay might be touted as the best wrestler in the group, maybe like storyline wise. I did beat Chris Jericho recently, so I mean he's got some great, but then again, Takeshita beat Kenny Omega twice, and that's why he's the alpha now. So who's the best? I don't know yet, as far as storyline goes, but he really is, like, again, it's not like this guy needs to get better at wrestling. It's really what he needs is more exposure, and he can take the spotlight of Don Callis and put him on him. So everyone's looking at Don Callis and his family. So he gets that halo effect of being incorporated into that and really saying, like, okay, you've been dominating elsewhere, but what can you do when all the brightest lights are on you, in the sense of AEW? So very cool, very, very, very cool pairing there. So like, all these guys are really talented, and we just need to either see them on the top level or develop them to the top level. And then that brings us to our last inclusion here, the most from the 4-year anniversary Dynamite. We have Powerhouse Hobbs here, which has gone through several iterations from Taz's group, from Team Taz, that is, Team Taz, and then the Book of Hobbs, and then kind of dropped that recently. I mean, he beat Wardlow under the when he was doing the Book of Hobbs thing, which I really liked. Man, I don't know why that didn't get, if they decided to drop it, if it went in a different direction, but I really like those promos, or those little vignette video packages and things like that, and I was really hoping, but I guess it just didn't go over as well. And he's a guy that like has the look, he has the ability and stuff, but he's having a little trouble relating to the crowd in that sense of keeping him in that main show weekly, everything. So I think this is another thing, like with Sammy and that you've been around for quite a while. Your abilities are not in question. It's really how you relate to the crowd. And then on the flip side, most stables have a muscle guy. Most of them, Blackpool Combat Club maybe doesn't have that traditional muscle guy. They have Cesaro, but maybe it's the strongest one of these muscle guys. I mean, not to say that he isn't jacked, but I'm talking about these pseudo giants that they have, not the real giants, but these guys that are just beefed out, like him and Brian Cage and Wardlow, I even put in there. And so they have that enforcer, that muscle guy in the group that now, and again, another, just look at this, like I'm looking at this image here, Powerhouse Up, and look, I just hate Don. I mean, I love Don, but just in this, I'm like, I hate you for what you just did and stuff, and now I'm associating that hate to Hobbs, and that's gonna get him over for me, of like, oh, mega heel here. This is a bad guy wrestling right here. And I love it at the same time. So another halo effect of Don. Like, Don is essentially putting his arms around these guys. This is the camera. Putting his arms around and being like, let me develop you to that last level. It's like an, I don't know if you watch like or Star Wars or anime and stuff, like you know, the Jedi would learn that final lesson, or in anime they learn the final move or technique or transformation or something, so they can go fight the final bad guy. And that's what I think. This is like a transformation. This is development. This is like that last final development in here. So let's get into the final thoughts here. Don Callis Family, I am loving it. I really think this has got huge potential. It's already paying dividends in the last month. I think this is a legitimate stable. Going up, it can really help. With Jericho's going in a face direction now. He's redesigning his image again, which he does every year or two. And it was time. So, and now you've got Kenny Omega, you've got Jericho kind of leading the charge of these two big guys that are going to now help put over Don Callis Family. And with that, it's not really about Don Callis getting over. I think he's already over as this mega heel, but it's the four guys underneath. The fact that these are, you know, if you want to go back to the pillar analogies and all that kind of stuff, like, these guys are actually like, I think they're super well built for each other. They're very versatile. They have the ability to tell storylines, athleticism, dominate. The collection of the four guys with Don Callis is great. And it's really a lot of the developing these young guys, which, let's be honest, AEW has been hit or miss on that, on this development. So look, they just let Cargill walk again. So she could have been huge. They, some of their younger guys, like, you look at the roster from day one to now, like, there's not as many names as you would think that are still there. Things like Dark Order and stuff like that have, you know, kind of regressed a lot. And then maybe the slight push that they're happening soon. But MJF is their biggest development here. So overall, I think they really got it right with this, and I think if they're careful with it, they're going to really go far. And these guys, four guys, are going to be mainstays of AEW and maybe even WWE, or switching off or stuff like that. So yeah, so there we go, Don Callis Family. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on it? Looking forward to seeing what happens tonight's Collision, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, by the time you see this, maybe Collision will be out, maybe something different will happen, but I don't know. So anyways, thanks for checking out. Follow, subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff for more. Follow Instagram, Twitter, or X now. And so thanks for checking out this Bad Guy Wrestling. See you later.